Welcome to the 18th annual City of Tempe YouthFest Courage Awards and Tempe Top Teens recognition. I'm Matt Pace with 12 News, one of the meteorologists there, and I'm very pleased and absolutely honored to be up here tonight as your Master of Ceremonies this evening. And tonight, the City of Tempe Mayor Mitchell and the Tempe City Council are here to recognize Tempe's outstanding youth for their exemplary efforts and, of course, their contributions to our community. These young people are positive role models and inspirations to absolutely everyone. At this time, I would like to introduce Mayor Mark Mitchell, who will formally welcome you to this evening's event.
Well, good evening, and thank you, Matt. It's my pleasure to be with you here tonight to honor a group of exceptional young people in our community. Tonight, we will be inspired and filled with pride during the Tempe Top Teens and the Courage Awards. The recipients have accomplished so much already, and fortunately for us, have so much more to give. Tonight, we will honor 46 students as Tempe Top Teens. They were selected by their schools as leaders in academics, athletics, citizenship activities, and advocating on behalf of social causes. 11 more students will receive the Courage Awards tonight. Their stories will truly amaze you. They have experienced and in some cases, are still going through some physical, emotional distress that might sideline the strongest of adults. Yet they have persevered and are on the road to very bright futures. At the end of the evening, after hearing their stories and meeting these fine individuals, we will again have inspiration for our own lives. At this time, I would like to introduce the Tempe Diabolos president, Randy Coffin. Randy?
Over the past 47 years, the Tempe Diabolos mission has been to make a positive impact on our community. We primarily support activities related to youth and education in the city of Tempe. This year, we funded over $319,000 to youth programs in the city of Tempe. Some of those this year have been the Parks and Recreation, Tempe Parks and Recreation Care 7 response, Experience Corps, Arc of Tempe, the Center for Rehabilitation, Rachel's Challenge, and Universal Pre-K. We also granted $220,000 in college scholarships this year and have funded over $4.6 million in scholarships to date. This, of course, is one of our favorite events to attend each year. Tonight we'll have the opportunity to recognize individuals with incredible courage and tenacity that have overcome what would seem to be insurmountable obstacles. Their will to overcome major roadblocks and step beyond limitations with the odds against them and to come out ahead is amazing. We are extremely honored and humbled by your stories of courage and perseverance. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dinner, and thank you for being part of this special evening. Thank you very much.
And at this time, I'm pleased to introduce this year's top teens from each of the Tempe high schools. These young people were nominated by their teachers and school administrators for demonstrating the finest qualities among young people in our community. The Tempe Top Teens excel in one or more of the following areas: academics, athletics, art, music, and community service. Many of these students have been honored in some form over the course of their high school careers. Tonight, it's the city of Tempe, in fact, the entire community of Tempe, that salutes their efforts and their excellence. Not only are your parents and families proud of you, but all of Tempe is extremely proud of each and every one of you. The Tempe Top Teens are clearly role models for young people in any community. Here are some of the comments made about them by their nominators. One of the finest students that I've had the pleasure of teaching. She consistently pushes herself to reach the highest level of potential. He is truly the embodiment of a servant leader. He consistently shows others what it means to serve not only the community, but each other. Her achievements have come through self-determination, diligence, and a strong work ethic. He is the kind of student who does right, not merely for appearance sake. It is the only way he knows. She exemplifies the promise of tomorrow's youth being a bright future. And these are just some of the descriptions of the young people you are about to meet that are also lined up along here. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce to you the YouthFest 2015 Tempe Top Teens. Jessica Garcia, Christian Leyva, Aaliyah Montanez, Erkson Romero, Jasmine Oreas Oritea, Candy Cortinias, Caitlin Dinkle, Russell Johns, Savannah Johnston, Eric Lynn, Kelly Nauman, Anna Samuels, Atria Tadapelli, Katrina White, Tanner Wilson, Mackenzie Donahue, Bailey Irwin, Reagan Griffith, Matthew Langmack, Timothy LaRue, Sarah Rogers, Casey Silva, Savannah Smith, Dalton Sabado, Franklin Zierick, Natalia Conway, Carolina Garcia, Hadley Griffin, Tyler Griffin, Carlos Hernandez, Reina Jaimino, Hadi Nasreddin, Kiana Wynn, Noah Stone, Trini Tat, Aja Andrews, and he could not be here tonight, Jocelyn Diaz, Victoria Labario, who could also not be here this evening, Moses Monclova, Zoe Nelson, Carmen Robles, Martin Hernandez Reyes, Madi Valencia, Alma Varon, Trinidad Vieja, Claire Neufeld. Please join me in giving these young people once again another round of applause, as they certainly deserve it. Well, at this time, we're pleased to honor the YouthFest 2015 Courage Award recipients. These young people have demonstrated the courage it takes to succeed in the world while facing great odds. They have risen above and beyond the call of duty and responsibility to be successful in their day-to-day lives. As you will see, and I believe you will definitely agree, these young people are an inspiration to each and every one of us. Tonight's recipients will be receiving a plaque recognizing their courage and a $100 gift card. At this time, I would like to introduce the City Council members and dignitaries who will present tonight's YouthFest 2015 Courage Award winners. This evening's first award is presented by Tempe Union High School Superintendent Dr. Kenneth Baca.
Good evening. Allow me to begin by first thanking the City of Tempe and our sponsors for supporting this event. You know, we are very fortunate to live in a community that supports and encourages our youth here in Tempe. And tonight we'll be hearing many inspirational stories of courage and determination. And while some of our teens have overcome their special challenge, still others face adversity, and one fine young man will no longer have to face a struggle, for he is finally at peace. And so I hope tonight we can learn from their stories, and we can commit ourselves through their inspirational stories to make a real difference in our community. And so I begin by introducing our first recipient this evening, Jessica Elkin, for the courage to overcome a family situation. Growing up, Jessica never felt pretty enough or smart enough. By age 12, she believed she'd never amount to anything and decided she did not want to live. She began cutting. Self-injury became a defense for the emotional burden of trying to find her own identity. That burden grew so unbearable that Jessica tried to end her own life. She was also using marijuana and alcohol, getting into trouble, and failing classes. As she started high school, she couldn't possibly see herself after high school, let alone graduating. But it's amazing how things change when you put your mind to it. And Jessica soon discovered that. She remembers during her freshman year that she made a conscious decision to take control of her life because she realized she didn't want to give up after all. She started taking steps to move herself in a more positive direction. Then, in her sophomore year, she became pregnant. The pregnancy wasn't planned and could have set her back. Instead, baby Isabella became the driving force behind Jessica's determination to succeed. She navigates the demands of being a teen mother, a student, and trying to hold down a job, working up to 35 hours a week as a manager for a children's clothing store to support herself and Isabella. It's daunting, but Jessica credits a program called Jobs for Arizona Graduates for keeping her focused and in school. You see, JAG provides academic support as well as leadership and career development opportunities for at-risk students. Jessica has raised her GPA and is on track to graduate in May. She's become a very active and dedicated member of JAG. As a matter of fact, last fall, she was chosen to be a state JAG leader and earned a trip to Washington, D.C. to attend week-long workshops. Jessica learned valuable leadership skills, which she has applied back at school, taking ownership of several JAG community service projects, collecting more than 200 books for a JAG book drive, and volunteering for the Cinderella Affair, where she was chosen to be interviewed by a news station covering the event. Her memory is that she had to wake up or be there at 4 a.m. She set a goal to earn the JAG Community Service Award and is well on her way, contributing more than, and this is an updated number, 76 hours of community service so far this school year. Jessica is the first to admit mistakes she's made along the way, but she's learned from each experience and is now sharing with others. She mentors classmates who face similar circumstances and is honest about the realities of teen motherhood, counseling them to make good choices and encouraging them to stay in school. Jessica tells them circumstances do not have to crush their dreams. It just may take a little longer to achieve them. Jessica's belief is, and I quote, "The past is in the past for a reason, and you have to strive for a better future." And she is. Jessica plans to study business at Mesa Community College and cosmetology at the East Valley Institute of Technology. She dreams of owning her own hair salon someday so she can provide Isabella, who is now 19 months old, with a world of experiences and opportunities. Jessica is thankful to Tempe High's JAG coordinator, Ms. Tanya Moulton, for inspiring her to see the possibilities and supporting her for going after them. She would also like to thank her mother and father, who are here tonight, for putting up with everything and loving her just the same. Jessica says it's important to know that even though you may feel unwanted at times, there are people around you who care. But first, you have to open your eyes, see yourself, and start making your own changes. Jessica, on behalf of the city of Tempe and your recognition of your perseverance and accomplishments, I am honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It's my pleasure to introduce our next recipient this evening, Marshall Sanderson, for the courage to overcome a physical limitation. Marshall's eyes light up, like my own, when he talks about video games and movies. He's passionate about attending school functions and performances, and he loves to tell jokes and bring laughter to anyone who will listen. Behind the humor is a strength that his 7th grade classmates at Fees College Preparatory Middle School may have no idea he possesses, but his teachers sure do. And they are in awe, not only of what he's faced in his young life, but how he chooses to live it. Marshall was born with spina bifida, a congenital defect that impacts the brain and spine, preventing the spinal column from fully developing and leading to multiple health issues that require a team of doctors to treat. In Marshall's case, he's had more surgeries than he'd care to count back on, his knees, even an eye. He's experienced seizures and endured many hours of therapy. And each time his teachers say Marshall always seems to dig in and to bounce back. His parents have noticed he's taken it upon himself to start lifting weights at home and his older brothers to try and build up his strength. Marshall doesn't complain about his pain and works as hard as he can to keep his disability from holding him back at school. Marshall's favorite class is Family and Consumer Sciences, and he's very proud to report he recently made a peach pie. My pie. That's my pie. Marshall has a knack for befriending other students with an attitude that encourages happiness in others. Just seeing him navigate his way through the breezeways and patios around the school with a big smile on his face often causes a chain reaction of smiles around campus. Marshall really enjoys helping others. He gives back to the community through Boy Scouts and church functions. Marshall says he is inspired by his family, his teachers, and his school nurse, Denise Allen. He's thankful for their help every day. Miss Allen, who nominated Marshall, says as she opens the school gate each morning and sees Marshall maneuver his wheelchair independently to class, she is witnessing courage in action. She predicts Marshall will continue to overcome obstacles that threaten to stand in his way, and she has no doubt he'll do it with a smile on his face. Marshall, on behalf of the city of Tempe, and in honor of your perseverance and accomplishments, I am proud to present you with this 2015 Youth Courage Award.
I'd first like to tell Dr. Baca and the Tempe Union High School District family how very sorry we are about Ridge's death. And you're all in our hearts and prayers, and our hearts go out to his family as well. It's my great pleasure tonight to introduce our next recipient this evening, Juan Carlos Granados, for the courage to overcome a family situation. Juan is a 7th grade student at Tempe Academy of International Studies whose kindness and wisdom have helped him achieve his goals despite the difficulties his family has faced. Juan doesn't quite remember if he was 6 or 8, the day his whole family gathered in the waiting room of the hospital as his mother lost her battle with pneumonia. He remembers she fought hard, and it was devastating. He shared his feelings with his classmates at school one day during an assembly on acceptance, admitting how hard it is to see other kids with their moms. It was a surprising revelation because the way Juan carried himself on the outside in no way divulged the pain he felt on the inside. With his mom gone, his father in prison, Juan's grandparents took him in. They do their best in an environment where crime is sometimes seen as the profession of choice. They have become guiding forces in his life, teaching him to make choices that lead to a better future. His stepfather has also remained close, providing Juan with additional encouragement. Juan's grandparents work hard, long hours to support not only family here in Arizona, but also in Mexico. Juan understands that means money and time are tight, so he does not ask for things that are typical wants of kids his age. He just appreciates the effort that his grandparents make to buy him basic necessities. Perhaps it's because of the exposure to grown-up-sized problems that navigates his life with purpose far more mature than his years. At school, he is diligent, hardworking, and driven. He takes honors math and English, and earns high marks in Tempe Academy's rigorous International Baccalaureate program. Juan takes pride in earning good grades, especially in math, because the lessons don't come easily for Juan. When assignments are difficult to understand, he becomes self-reliant and finds creative ways to solve the academic challenges. Juan's determination and intelligence has made him the go-to person to help all of his cousins with their homework. He is resourceful and often helps his grandparents translating documents from English to Spanish so they know what's going on at school and in the community. At school, Juan quietly leads by action. Juan's guidance counselor, Juan Nguyen, says other students are drawn to him because of his accepting attitude and his calm, positive influence. Juan's eagerness to learn and his desire to improve has earned great respect from his teachers. Ms. Nguyen, who nominated Juan for his award, says, "It's remarkable that Juan is able to handle his accomplishments with such humility." Juan's mission to overcome adversity carries over to the heroes he chooses to look up to in his favorite sports, Major League Soccer and the NBA. Juan has heard the story basketball legend Michael Jordan tells about being cut from his high school basketball team. Juan identifies with Jordan's tenacious spirit to strive to become a better athlete. Like Jordan, will never give up the pursuit of his goals. His philosophy is always avoid bad situations and always use the positive advice from people around you to overcome difficult situations. Pretty good advice. Juan would like to recognize and thank his grandmother and his grandfather for providing that helpful advice and for their loving support. He also wants his stepfather to know how much he appreciates his positive influence. Juan Carlos Granados, on behalf of the city of Tempe, and in honor of your perseverance, courage, and accomplishments, I am very honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It's my pleasure to introduce our next recipient this evening, Maria Lopez Acero, for the courage to overcome a health condition. Maria is a gifted 6th grade student who attends the Aspire Academy at Connolly Middle School. She excels so much at math that at her current pace, by the time she starts 9th grade, she'll already have 2 years of high school level math under her belt. And Maria has a passion for the arts as well, especially theater and music, and she dedicates herself to succeed at both. And she does it all with a sense of fun. School administrators call her amazing, determined, and they note her witty sense of humor. She's only 11 years old and already proving to be pretty exceptional, and that's without knowing that Maria doesn't have the freedom to do many of the things her classmates can. Several health conditions prevent her from being able to jump or run or climb on playground equipment with her friends. A disease makes Maria's bones so fragile and brittle that she once broke her arm just by raising her hand in class. The walk across campus, with her rolling backpack stuffed with books, supplies, and her violin, can be a dangerous journey. But it's a path Maria chooses in order to walk among her classmates. Maria refuses to let her disability dictate who she is, and she doesn't want you to either. She just wants to be treated like everyone else. Sometimes that means having to work extra hard to balance a rigorous regime of doctor's appointments with going to class and keeping up with Aspire's fast-paced curriculum. She doesn't see that as some great feat, though. Rather, she says it's simply learning over time to adjust to her physical limitations and challenges. Maria let nothing stand in her way as she enthusiastically took part in Aspire Academy's CourtWorks mock trial held at the ASU Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. She took on the role of bad girl, Ruthie Hamilton, the rebellious and delinquent best friend of the trial's defendant. She captivated the audience and fellow actors with her performance. Recently, she's also expressed a keen interest in behind-the-scenes studying stage design and the artistry of theater makeup. The techniques that she's learned have given her the tools to transform herself into different characters like a zombie and a boy. And by the way, she said being a boy was boring, and I have to agree. But her favorite transformation involved using makeup to turn herself into an old person, which he so enjoyed because it looked so funny. And I hope you don't think I'm an old person, Maria. Maria's spunk, combined with her strength, resiliency, and fierce independence, compelled Dr. Gerald Taylor, the coordinator of Aspire, to nominate her for this award. Maria wants to thank him and the rest of the staff at the Aspire Academy, as well as her parents, Adrian Lopez and Adriana Acero, for allowing her to live the way she wants to. Their support will allow Maria to take pride in her continued accomplishments as a student, not because of the challenges she has overcome and continues to encounter to this day, but because she's a gifted student and a young lady who thrives on being challenged intellectually and academically. Maria Lopez Acero, on behalf of the City of Tempe and in recognition of your perseverance and accomplishments, I'm honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It's my pleasure to introduce our next recipient this evening, James Escobar, for the courage to overcome a family situation. Maybe it was grade school or even as far back as kindergarten when we learned the phrase, "Don't judge a book by its cover." If you didn't heed that advice, you might think that this Tempe High School senior is aloof or disengaged and isn't concerned about school or beyond. But that's just the wall he's built up over 18 years of turmoil that most of us couldn't imagine. If you take time to get to know James and dig a little deeper, you'll learn that while his demeanor may be quiet and serious, his future is incredibly important to him. So much so that he chooses not to dwell on what's happened in the past, but to focus on making a better life for himself. James grew up with his mom, who he describes as a hard worker, doing the best she could to raise him. But substance abuse and relationship issues crept in and festered. And 2 years ago, the grip closed in so tight on his mother that James was placed in the custody of Child Protective Services. While the details were worked out, he was told he'd have to miss some school. Well, that was unacceptable to James, who insisted the social workers call one of his teachers to explain why he wouldn't be in class. James was placed in a group home in the West Valley, but it was important to him to continue at Tempe High. So that meant 13-hour days, starting with catching a bus at 5 in the morning in order to make it across town in time for school. The JAG program at Tempe High is not only preparing him for life after graduation, but also helped him get back on track after those 2 tough first years of high school. He worked diligently to bring up his grades and recover credits, while balancing life as a student athlete on the basketball team and working 40 hours a week as a grill cook at ASU. James spent countless hours worrying about his mother, wondering where she is and how she's doing. He wasn't allowed to have contact with her, and the not knowing was excruciating. He had to rely on sporadic updates from a friend who occasionally saw her, but there had been no updates for many months, until recently, when James turned 18 and was given some letters his mom had written to him. Of course, it wasn't the same as seeing her with his own eyes or feeling a hug, but it was such a relief because at least he knew she was okay. This past fall, James went online to look for information about his mom's house and saw that the taxes had not been paid for the past few years. So this resourceful and resilient young man studied what it would take to fix the situation. He set up a payment plan with the state, and within a few months was able to pay off the back taxes with money from his job. His next goal is to repair and remodel the home so that he can live there. His plan to make that dream a reality may also shape his career. After graduation, he wants to attend EVIT, which I'm very proud of, and then Gateway Community College to study construction and remodeling in hopes of one day owning his own remodeling business. This evening, James and I had a bet on the Duke-Wisconsin game, and unfortunately, I lost that bet. Duke won, for those who don't know, and so I will be helping James with that remodel. So I was going to add a room on my house, but now I'm going to be helping James instead. So James hasn't been able to depend on many adults in his life, but he knows he can count on Tanya Moulton, Tempe High's JAG coordinator. He is grateful for her encouragement and for looking beyond the cover to see that James isn't aloof. He isn't disengaged. And amazingly, he doesn't hold any anger or resentment. James is a smart, loyal, and devoted young man. He's a survivor. He believes his mother will get her life together, and he wants to help her. He also understands that he needs to take care of himself, and he'll do that too. He's already proven that when he puts his mind to something, he can make it happen. Like James says, keep your head up, stay positive, and look to the future. James Escobar, on behalf of the city of Tempe, and in honor of your perseverance and accomplishments, I'm honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It is really, truly my pleasure to be here amongst all these very inspirational young individuals, and I'm so proud to be part of this wonderful community, as I know they're all going to grow up to be fantastic citizens, and I think they already are. And I have to just really quickly say thank you to the family members, to the staff members, to the principals, to all those individuals that really make this possible. Thank you for everything that you do. Continue this great work. And I just want to say, if you're an educator, thank you for what you do. I really do appreciate everything. And if you guys would just join me and give them a round of applause for those educators in this room. It is really my pleasure to be here to introduce our very next special recipient, Jasmine Romero, for the courage to overcome a physical limitation. Jasmine is a bright and resilient junior at McClintock High School. Go Chargers. Mayor. Her glowing smile is hard to miss as she zooms down the hallways in her electric wheelchair. But behind the smile is the knowledge that a medical condition is depriving her of her freedom to move like her peers. Spinal muscular atrophy is a degenerative disorder that is stealing Jasmine's physical strength, making her muscles increasingly weak. It's exhausting to get through the school day, trying to accomplish the task most of us just take for granted. Yet Jasmine's spirit is strong as she pushes to be as independent as she can, choosing to remain motivated and positive, which I truly attest to. She often is willing to fatigue herself in order to accomplish the same things her classmates are just able to do. Her teachers admire that she never uses this weakness in her arms and legs as an excuse, and they often have to force her to take accommodations. Her physical limitations do not hold her back from challenging herself to take an active role on campus activities, even joining the Army Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. Sometimes you may know that as the JROTC program. And this program stresses character education, student achievement, wellness, leadership, and diversity. And Jasmine, who is incredibly shy, I hear, has really flourished here, working her way up to a leadership position that requires her to yell commands, or strongly encourage, I'd like to say, to her team of more than 40 students. She takes great pride in her rank and accomplishment, is thrilled to be a part of it. As an Army veteran, I say thank you very much, Jasmine, for that. Jasmine's hard work and dedication applies to the classroom too. Being successful in her schoolwork is very important to her. She has pushed to get ahead in credits and has earned above average grades. She often helps other students that are struggling with their homework and assignments. She enjoys feeling like she makes a difference and continues that dedication to service in the summertime when she volunteers at the Tempe Library and the History Museum. Jasmine is very talented in so many ways and is always trying to do new things. She loves to sing and joined the choir at her school, but her favorite class is drama. Performing in front of her classmates makes Jasmine feel free, and the confidence she has gained from those performances has motivated Jasmine to participate in several beauty pageants. She was delighted recently to be asked to pose for a glamorous photo shoot, complete with a gorgeous gown, full hair, and full makeup. Her photo landed on the front cover of a magazine and led to an interview on a local radio station. That experience was so fun for her. Every day, Jasmine is inspired by the love and support of her mom and dad, and the Courage Award means so much to all of them. Before learning she'd been nominated, Jasmine's mom had planned to take her to her very first concert ever. She bought tickets months ago to Ariana Grande, who I didn't really know who that was, but now I do know. And the show actually is tonight, and they hope to attend both. But unfortunately, last month, Jasmine wasn't feeling well and stopped breathing. Paramedics revived her at the hospital, where she stayed for a week. While she's feeling much better tonight, and she looks beautiful, she and her family felt it might be best to attend just one major event in the night, and she chose to be here with us. Yeah, you should clap for that. She says she's never had an opportunity like this in her life, and she wants her nominator, Nicole Eklund, who's here tonight, her case manager at McClintock, to know how honored and appreciative she is. What Jasmine will hopefully realize tonight is how honored other people feel to know her, and that she's being recognized not for just the courage to overcome obstacles, but for inspiring others with her love for learning and sincere nature. As Mrs. Eklund says, I am very proud of all that Jasmine has accomplished at McClintock, and I hope that she realizes how much I look up to her courage to face each and every day. It certainly isn't easy for Jasmine, but her attitude gives her the strength to power through it. Her advice to others is simple: live life to the fullest, and don't let negativity hurt you. This young lady is truly an example of that. Beautiful on the inside and out, Jasmine, on behalf of the City of Tempe, I am very honored tonight to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Awards.
I want to just reiterate some of the words that Randy Coffin, our president, said. The Diabolos truly love being involved in our community and love doing events like this and supporting the youth of our community in Tempe. And I'd like to say for the gentlemen that are sitting out in their audiences and their wives, to give them one more round of applause for all the work they do in this community. And by the way, if you don't know it, our mayor is also a Diablo. He is, and we see eye to eye, so it's good. Anyway, it's my great pleasure tonight to introduce our next recipient, Sabrina Santa Cruz, for Courage to Overcome a Family Situation. When Sabrina thinks about the night in May when she will graduate, her eyes well up with tears. She's waited so long for this and will be one of the first in her family to receive a high school diploma. For Sabrina, it represents much more than completing high school. It's about surviving the journey to get here. At age 13, Sabrina was exhausted and angry, going to school and caring for 5 younger siblings, while her mom worked and her dad floated in and out of her life. She was getting into trouble and eventually was kicked out of junior high for fighting. A few months later, she discovered she was pregnant. On July 7th, 2011, Sabrina gave birth to a healthy baby girl. But at 3 weeks old, baby Mia started developing fevers. Numerous trips to the doctors and hospitals ended in the same diagnosis. It's just a virus. After 2 months, a specialist revealed Maya had an incurable, life-threatening disease, and her only hope was to have a liver transplant. A devastated Sabrina blamed herself, wondering what she had done to make her sweet baby so sick. There were so many medications and tests, and a little girl who would scream through the night. And then Mia became so ill, she had to be airlifted to University Medical Center in Tucson, where she remained for nearly 4 months. Doctors gave 2 options: find a family member with the same blood type who could donate a part of a liver, or wait for another baby to die. Sabrina's boyfriend, Mia's father, Jesus, was a match. This good news quickly turned to disappointment. Jesus had too many arteries connected to his liver, and surgery would be too risky. Mia got sicker. Her tiny heart slowed down, and she could no longer breathe on her own. Sabrina had a heart-wrenching decision to make. Shortly after doctors turned off the machines, 7-month-old Mia died in Sabrina's arms. It was Valentine's Day, 2012. While relieved that Mia was no longer suffering, Sabrina was falling apart. Parting was masked with the pain. Now 15 years old, she soon learned that she was pregnant again, already 5 months along. After baby Manny was born, Sabrina decided to go back to school. She'd missed a year and couldn't find childcare or transportation. Then she remembered hearing about the Adolescent Pregnancy and Parenting Program at Compadre Academy.
Just before Manny's birthday, she enrolled, traveling by city bus each day from Mesa. Compadre clicked with Sabrina. She enjoyed meeting people from all over and being exposed to other sides of life. She appreciates an environment where she says she's treated like a young adult, and the staff understands family circumstances. She loves her JAG classes because it helps students prepare for the real world, and teacher Susan Manning has been essential in guiding her and encouraging her to be in school and stay in school. Sabrina is also inspired by Miss Griffin. Her life and child development teacher challenged Sabrina with a pay-it-forward project, collecting socks for a homeless shelter. Sabrina was doubtful she'd be successful, but in the end collected more than 70 pairs of socks and was overjoyed. Through tears, she said that although she learned what comes around goes around, she still can't believe that good things are starting to happen for her. This young lady who didn't know if she'd ever graduate from high school is now planning for college. Because of her experience with Mia, she believes she can make a difference as a pediatric nurse. Remember for that just a moment, please. Sabrina is dedicated to helping others and wants to create a good life for her son. She'd like to thank her grandparents for their help welcoming Sabrina and Manny into their home. Sabrina and Jesus will celebrate 5 years together in June. They've been through so much, and she's grateful he stuck by her side. Through it all, Sabrina learned a lot, and the advice she would share is this: stay strong and keep pushing yourself to go forward. You are the only person who can change your life. At this moment is where I'm telling you that congratulations on your accomplishments and perseverance. I met Sabrina in the courtyard before this evening, and she told me about her plans to be a nurse and how she wanted to be a pediatrics nurse and what she was going to have to do. I had to call my older sister. Now, Sabrina, I don't like calling my older sister. She's much smarter than me, a lot smarter. And she happens to be, was the vice president of human resources at University Physicians Hospital in Tucson and founder of Meritus Health Service in the Phoenix area now. And anyway, you get to ASU. She's also a member of the ASU Alumni Board, I think, or something like that. But you get to ASU, there'll be a $2,000 scholarship waiting to help you out. I sent her your picture. Sabrina Santa Cruz, on behalf of the City of Tempe and the recognition of your courage, perseverance, and accomplishments, I am honored to present you with the 2015 Youth Courage Award.
It is my pleasure to introduce our next recipient, Tyler Haggerty, for the courage to overcome a health condition. Tyler is an 8th grade student at Kyrene Middle School, and some might say he's unique in that he speaks with a distinct tone and cadence. Others might point out that he has autism spectrum disorder, but his teachers will tell you what truly makes Tyler exceptional are the ways he expresses and carries himself. Tyler is secure and genuine in who he is, and he is frank about his struggles with autism. Despite the barriers he faces or anxiety he feels, Tyler chooses to engage in life around him, from playing the saxophone in the school band and participating in the Tempe Youth Town Hall, to attending the overnight camp for Kyrene Middle School's Midtown Tolerance and Inclusion Camp. Tyler is sometimes described as an old soul. While talking with him, you can forget that he's just 14 years old, and I've had that experience tonight with Tyler. Not only does he have a sense of maturity, but he's in tune with the world around him, possessing a deep understanding of historical and current events, and connecting them back to his schoolwork. Teachers and classmates value the thoughts and opinions he shares, and he has such a passion for history, he hopes to make it a career someday. If not history, possibly politics. His teachers predict he'd have success in that arena too. They say Tyler is a fighter for the underdog, whether it means speaking up in response to something someone else has said or allowing another student's opinion to be heard. Tyler says he enjoys listening to viewpoints that differ from his own, and as he strives to become a better leader, he decided to interview for a position on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. I care very deeply for lots of people, and I stand up for what I believe in, he told the committee. I know what it's like to be different, and I want to expand my chain reaction to the community. Tyler's reference to his own chain reaction comes from a school presentation that recently resonated with him called Rachel's Challenge. Based on the life and writings of Rachel Joyce Scott, the first student killed in the shootings at Columbine High School, the program challenges students to start and sustain a culture of kindness and compassion in their school and community. Tyler didn't just listen to that presentation, he's taking action, joining the Friends of Rachel's Club in order to carry on the mission. When he discovered that he can continue his involvement next year, it was a big relief because the club will provide him with a ready-made support group for the transition from middle school to high school. And with Tyler's caring heart, he'll likely provide just as much support to other students. His Courage Award nominators, Kyrene Middle School teacher Jamie Ribaudo and prevention specialist Kaylee Jenkins, salute Tyler for being a role model, not only for students who have disabilities, but for all students. They credit him with setting the standard on how to act in class or how to think through a lesson or presentation, treating people the way he wants to be treated, and expecting the same respect and courtesy from everyone he meets. Quite simply, they say, Tyler is an incredible young man. Tyler Haggerty, on behalf of the City of Tempe and in recognition of your perseverance and accomplishments, I am honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It is my pleasure to introduce our next recipient this evening, Carly Mueller, for the courage to overcome a family situation. When Carly receives her high school diploma next month, she'll be surrounded by a family who loves her, a family that she may have only dreamt about, a family she didn't know exist until a year ago. 4 years ago, when Carly started her freshman year at McClintock High School, she had a secret. Her home life was a mess. Tumultuous would best describe it. Her mother's substance abuse meant Carly's basic needs weren't met. There wasn't food in the house. Strange people came in and out. She didn't feel safe or supported in her mother's home. Her only place that Carly felt safe and loved was at her grandmother's house. But the security was ripped away from Carly when she was just 10 years old. Her grandmother was tragically killed in a car accident. The devastation over losing her grandmother, coupled with knowing she no longer had an escape, left Carly devastated. Her sadness was more than what she could bear, so she started to cut herself away to relieve the pain. She was placed in a self-contained classroom through her elementary school years in an effort to stabilize her. There were calls made on her behalf to Child Protective Services, but no real resolutions. Last year, despite hopes that her mother had her substance abuse issues under control, Carly came to the painful realization that her mother was still using. The pressure left Carly depressed. She was harming herself in several ways. She was hitting rock bottom, and she knew that she had to do something. Summoning every ounce of courage she could, she picked up the phone and reported what was happening to Child Protective Services. This time, there was swift intervention. In fact, Carly had just 15 minutes to pack up her belongings and find somewhere to live or be placed in a group home. Carly started dialing as fast as she could, calling friend after friend to beg for a place to stay. She was adamant that she wanted to stay at McClintock High School and stay on track to graduate, and was afraid that a group home would prevent that. Finally, her friend Destiny picked up the phone, and fortunately, when she asked her parents if Carly could spend the night, they said, okay. What began as for a one-night stay for Carly has evolved into much more than she could ever have imagined. Tammy and Rick Lutz not only opened their home to Carly that night, but they allowed her to stay ever since. They provided the caring and support that she longed for. While officially they are her foster parents, Carly considers Tammy and Rick her mom and dad, and she has flourished in their home. A once angry, scared little girl is growing into a positive and confident young woman who now shares her story with groups on campus. She is so appreciative of everyone who has had a role in helping her discover that not only did she deserve better life, but that she could really have it. That includes Brooke Ramsey, her counselor at McClintock High, Rick and Tammy and Destiny Lutz, her new family, Jacob, her boyfriend, and Carol, her grandmother. She says they all have helped guide her into a bright, healthy future. Now, Carol will be so proud that Carly is graduating next month. and that she may have helped inspire her career path. Carly plans to enroll in Scottsdale Culinary Institute. She has wonderful memories of baking with her grandmother and hopes to open up her own bakery someday. But there are a lot of people who are proud of Carly, and we know you haven't heard nearly enough. Ms. Ramsey, who nominated you for this award, sums it up best. She wrote, "The amazing transformation I have witnessed in Carly is truly worthy of this award. She had the courage to continue her education despite her environment. She had the courage to finally and want to be ready to change her life by telling someone her story. She had the courage to trust others, and despite some of her previous experiences, and as the Lutz can surely attest, she has the courage to give an amazing family a chance to show her true unconditional love." Carly, on behalf of the city of Tempe, and in recognition of your perseverance and accomplishments, I am honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It is my pleasure to introduce Trey Holly, who is being honored tonight for a physical act of courage and for the courage to overcome a family situation. Trey, a senior at Tempe High School, is described as laid-back, fun, outgoing, well-liked, and after what happened on October 21st, 2013, incredibly brave. It was a school night, a week before basketball tryouts. Trey had played varsity as a sophomore and was confident he'd make an impact as a junior. The TV woke him up around 3 in the morning, but when he went to shut it off, he realized the sound was actually coming from his parents' bedroom. As he got closer, he could tell his mom needed his help, but the door was locked. Trey broke it down and immediately noticed the scratches on her face and the lumps on her arm from a baseball bat. Trey's younger siblings came in and huddled on the bed with their mom as Trey positioned himself between them and the attacker and tried to talk him out of the room. Trey thought he'd nearly gotten out of the house when suddenly, as they passed through the kitchen, he grabbed a knife and stabbed Trey in the stomach. The blade sliced into his intestine. Trey went down stunned. He couldn't believe he'd just been stabbed and that his own father did it. Adrenaline kicked in and Trey ran down the street to his grandmother's house, but he was conflicted. Would she open the door in time, or would his father kill him right there on her doorstep? Should he throw a rock at a neighbor's window so they'd call 911? Suddenly, his mother's scream sent him racing back. She'd been stabbed too. She was going to be okay, but his father got away. Trey was rushed to the hospital, into surgery, and then intensive care. Since his dad was on the run, hospital visitors used secret passwords to see Trey. He missed more than a month of school. Physically, he was weak. Emotionally, he was traumatized. His family slept with every light on in the house as police officers kept watch outside. His dad was caught, and Trey was eventually healed. Tempe High coach Tom Saltstein, known as Coach Salt, held a spot on the basketball team, and Trey did return to the court. But he had a very disappointing, frustrating season. Hoping for answers as to why this happened, Trey went to see his dad, who's currently serving a prison sentence. It was an emotional visit, but Trey didn't get answers. Still, he chose to forgive his father that day, and everyone asked him why. Trey's response, "It was time to move on. I'm still young, and I still have a life ahead of me that I need to pursue. Things are going to happen, and you just have to make sure that you come out stronger on the other side." Trey poured himself into basketball and conditioning, and this season he was a key contributor for the Buffaloes, who made it to the second round of the state basketball tournament. Trey's love for basketball goes way beyond the game, and Coach Salt has grown to be far more than a coach. Trey explains that basketball teaches you how to make wise decisions, builds character, and provides a release. He says the whole team considers Coach Salt a father figure who inspires them to grow to be better people who will be better future husbands and better future fathers. Trey's mom is his biggest inspiration, and he's grateful for her support. She was raised by her grandparents, and he knows she wasn't able to experience the things that she's made possible for him, like traveling across the country as well as overseas. Trey is also thankful to the woman he calls a second mom, Tanya Moulton. As Tempe High's JAG coordinator, she is dedicated to helping at-risk students graduate and transition to college and full employment. Trey says she is always there for you and will have your back regardless of the circumstance. The admiration is certainly mutual. Ms. Moulton nominated Trey for this award. College is next, but Trey is torn on what to study. He's had a love for law enforcement since he was a little boy, but his hospital experience has him considering nursing. And his teachers at Tempe High have inspired Trey so much that a career in education is also on the table. Whatever he pursues, there's no doubt, Trey has proven he is stronger on the other side. Trey Holly, on behalf of the city of Tempe, and in recognition of your courage, perseverance, and accomplishments, I am honored to present you with the 2015 YouthFest Courage Award.
It is my honor to introduce our final recipient, Ridge Vanderburg, for the courage to overcome a health condition. Ridge is the kind of guy that everyone wants to be around. He always knows when to provide comic relief, an ounce of sarcasm, encouraging words, or just a funny little dance. His balanced energy and positive attitude helps make him a vital member of the Corona del Sol volleyball team. He was always able to pick up the team when it was down. No one ever thought Ridge would be the one who would need to be inspired. The summer before his senior year started out normal enough. Ridge even decided to pick up a new hobby, archery. While practicing, the bow grazed the inside of his arm, and it hurt more than it should have. A bruise formed, and the pain wouldn't go away, so his parents took him to the doctor. Blood tests revealed that his blood cells were not normal. His mom, Brenda, said, "Well, we all know that Ridge is not normal. However, this not normal turned out to be leukemia." Officially, the doctor called it the acute myeloid leukemia, but Ridge doesn't like the word leukemia, so he calls it bloodstream cancer. This form is very aggressive and fast-spreading, so Ridge was admitted to the hospital and began chemotherapy. Not only was his summer cut short for the carefree and loving teenager, but he soon found himself spending the better part of 7 months at the Phoenix Children's Hospital, plus additional months at the Mayo Clinic. There were trips home here and there, but complications yanked him back. There were strokes on both sides of his brain, septic shock, and then his heart started to fail. Every time Ridge fought back, the cancer and chemo were draining and the medications debilitating. But none of it would have crushed his spirit. Ridge always had the nurses laughing, and he remained positive and determined. In the times that it all seemed too overwhelming, his family and friends were there to fight for him. His family created a Facebook page for to follow Ridge's journey. The public forum, titled Ridge's Rocky Road with Bloodstream Cancer, is a place where he can best honest and care about the ups and downs, and the friends and strangers can respond with positive posts. His volleyball team made sure Ridge knew that even though he couldn't play this year, he's still an Aztec. He is one of us, said Coach Brian Evans. Students at Corona and across the Tempe Union High School District and others in the community have rallied around him, raising money and sending messages of strength and hope. Corona baseball players and coaches recently shaved their heads and raised more than $5,000 for the Children's Cancer Network. Ridge has been bravely fighting cancer for over the last school year, and they wanted to honor him as the warrior that he is, said head coach baseball coach Dave Webb. Firefighters from around the surrounding cities have visited Ridge. That's been really special because before being diagnosed, Ridge was in the fire science program at EVIT and stood out as a leader in his courses. Ridge's two sisters, Haley and Sienna, are his biggest cheerleaders. His mom, Brenda, and dad, Vince, have been by his side at every turn. Brenda even left her job to help care for Ridge. Ridge says the outpouring support from his family, his classmates, and the community has truly been amazing. He's inspired by everyone walking through his journey with him. But Coach Evans, who nominated Ridge for this award, insists it is he and we are who are inspired because of him. I truly believe that not all of us have been given a fighting spirit like Ridge's possesses, she wrote. Through watching Ridge, we are learning about the strength of family, friends, and our community. And that as we encounter challenges in our lifetime, we absolutely can fight to overcome them. I would like to share with you words Ridge's mother recently posted on his Facebook page to describe Ridge's battle. Courage comes in many different ways. It takes the courage to continue to fight for your life every single day for months on end, but it also takes the courage to know when to stop and feel at peace. On Saturday evening, Ridge let go of life here on earth. While he is no longer physically with us, his courageous spirit and the inspiration that he has provided lives on within all of us. Here this evening to accept Ridge's 2015 YouthFest Courage Award are his volleyball coach, Bryn Evans, his sister, Sienna, and his closest friends and teammates. Could you please come forward? I would be remiss tonight if I did not recognize those caring adults who provide guidance, mentorship, and opportunities for the young people who we have just received the Top Tempe Teen and Youth Courage Awards. You have given freely of your time and your hearts because of your gifts. These students had adults to turn to for support, for their direction, and for their unconditional love. And it is quite apparent that they all are well on their way on becoming remarkable adults themselves. Clearly, no obstacles have kept tonight's honorees from their goals, and I suspect that nothing will be able to deter them in the future either. Remember their faces, because these young people are the future of our community, our nation, as well as our world. And we'll see you next year at the 19th Annual YouthFest Courage Awards. Good evening.